Welcome to the George Mason Basketball Coaches Show, everyone. We're live from Kelly's Oyster House and Bar. I'm Bill Rowland. Our special guest tonight is the women's head coach, Vanessa Blair-Lewis. Student athlete coming up later on during the show will be Zahira Walton. Very excited to have the coach here and Zahira as well. And let's jump right into it, Coach.
All right.
What a great start for your team. 10-0 in the A10. You guys have been playing some great basketball here. Halfway through the conference schedule already. What's been the key to get off to this 10-0 start in the A10?
I'll always say this. I think our non-conference really prepared us for the weight of the conference. We put together probably one of the toughest non-conference schedule that I've had since I've been coaching. We scheduled everyone that was at the tournament last year except for 2 teams. And we paid for it some nights. Some nights we were on the other end. But I think that all of the lessons learned in that time, in that span of 12 games, really could take us through a whole season. And some of those lessons showed up as early as January, and we were able to overcome them. So, I just think for this team right now, we've been battle tested by some of the best in the country, and we're ready for anything that has been showed to us.
Obviously, anybody who's a fan is very aware of Walton, Kennedy Harris, the 2 mainstays of your squad. But I've been impressed the last month of the season or so of your freshman point guard, Mary. She's been unbelievable. 3rd leading scorer now for you guys in the A10 play. When did it click for her? Was there a practice, a game, a situation where you went, I think the freshman might be figuring it out, or has it just kind of been that slow, steady process?
Well, I think if you would have asked me this earlier in the non-conference, I would have told you I'd use box color a lot for my grades with Mary. But she has really just grown every single game, and she is a student of the game. She wants to be in the gym. She wants to watch film. And I think once we got into conference play, we always say when you get to halfway of the conference, the freshmen aren't freshmen anymore,
right.
And she's starting to show that.
You've been able to do it not only with those 3, lots of depth. You won down at VCU when Walton wasn't able to play. Jada Brown, I think, had 17 in that game. So it seems like if one of them isn't available or isn't having their typical game, you've got other people that you can lean on. It's really been a whole team doing this 10-0 start.
Yeah, and that's the blessing of the depth.
Right.
You have Jada Brown. You also have Paige Greenberg, who can step up and knock down a shot. You have MJ. You can call on almost anybody on the bench, and they can come in and put together some minutes. So, we're just happy going into February 1 healthy, and having the depth that we have.
When you look at everything that's going on in college basketball, we don't have to analyze whether it's a good thing what's going on or not, but so many teams, and I think about the men's side where Coach Skin had to basically rebuild his entire roster, you were able to keep a really good core. Obviously, you had some changes. You brought in some freshmen, some transfers, but a lot of the core group stayed here in Fairfax. Probably would have been easy for them to move on, whether it's for playing time or other opportunities. How were you able to keep this core group together here in Fairfax?
I just think we have something really special here. We talk about Ubuntu, we talk about family, but it's something that's just not talked about, it's lived. And we have some really special players on this team that could go anywhere and be anywhere. And they chose to come back here, and that means a lot to us. There's a loyalty there from us to them and them to us. And we're able to do the things we're doing right now because we have those players, those corner pieces in Zah and in Ken Harris, that are really the mainstays of this program. And, you don't find that much in this landscape anymore. It's what have you done for me lately kind of attitude. And they're just not those type of young people.
You challenged them. You talked about the early season schedule. You challenged them with it. I would imagine that it might be tough. You're coming off the first ever NCAA tournament bid, first ever A10 championship. I would think that there have been times that it might be tough to keep them motivated because they may be looking, hey, can we just get to the A10 schedule? Can we just get to the tournament so we can try to get ourselves back? Have you noticed that at all with this group, or have they been kind of locked in since the beginning?
I think they've been locked in ever since we took them on a foreign tour to Spain.
Okay.
That in and of itself was just such an incredible journey, incredible trip for all of us. And I think it allowed us to grow up quickly. But then I think when we got into non-conference, this is the schedule a lot of them have asked for. We want to play those tough teams. We want to play, that stronger non-conference schedule. And they were there for every single game. There was no looking forward. We don't even do that now. When we're in the locker room, we're just talking about the next game.
When you look at everything that's gone on, is it leaning on the folks that have been there, or is it trying to bring along, whether it's a freshman, the transfers, to say, hey, this is the standard. The standard is the standard now. Because, I mean, you showed up. They hadn't won a conference game. Now you're A10 champions here the next year. You're going towards that again this year. Is it leaning on the core group of players to say, hey, you need to bring these freshmen along, or is it trying to get the freshmen and transfers to say, hey, you're part of this, push them because you want to get where they were last year?
Yeah, no, I think we have a really good established group of upperclassmen in Jada Brown, in Zah Walton, and Kennedy Harris. And, excellence is the standard, and it's demanded and rent is due every single day. And they show up and do it. So it's easier to get behind people that are doing that kind of work every single day in practice. You say, are they just ready to get to the conference tournament? No, I'm trying to keep them out of the gym to take some days to rest. And that's hard to do because they really want to continue to get better. But they are the standard for this program. And they sat in the seat where these freshmen sat. And I don't know if you remember when they were freshmen, sure. Ken and Zah, and they were the leading bench scorer in the country, 35 points. They came and they played behind some great people in Sonia Smith and Paula Suarez, and now it's their turn, and these freshmen are doing the same thing. So it's the passing of the baton.
It's nice. We're going to talk to Zahira coming up in the next segment. Give me a kind of analysis of her game. Tell me about Walton, how she plays.
I remember being here last year, and we were talking about Paula Suarez. And as you watched her matriculate through this program, coming in from a freshman, last year you asked me the same question about her, and this was my response, and it's the same response for Zah. She's a pro.
Okay.
She's a pro. She has now gone from, she's played every position for me. When she started as a freshman, she was in the post at the 5. The next year, she was the 4. Last year, she played 3 and 4. This year, she's a LeBron. She's a point forward. She can play every position, and now she's reading defenses. She led the team with 6 assists. That was never Zah. Zah was a black hole. That ball went in. It wasn't coming out. But now she knows that she garners all of this attention, and she's learning how to play with the ball and without the ball. Zahira Walton is a pro.
We'll talk to her coming up and give some of the numbers, the accolades that she's already accumulated in less than 3 years here at Mason. So we'll do that next again here on the Coaches Show. Vanessa Blair-Lewis will join us for a final segment. But up next, the redshirt junior of the Patriots, their leading scorer, Zahira Walton, will join us here at Kelly's Oyster Bar and Restaurant in Fairfax. Welcome back to the Coaches Show here. I'm your host, Bill Rowland. It's my pleasure now to be joined by the redshirt junior of the George Mason women's basketball team. Zahira Walton's with us. And here, before we get to the questions, I'm going to run down a few of the accolades that you have already garnered in, again, less than 3 years of playing here. Your A10 Rookie of the Year your freshman year. Last year, first team All A10. A10 Tournament MVP, leading the team to their first ever NCAA appearance. All A10 defensive team. And just recently, your last game, over 1,200 now career points, which has you 15th all-time in George Mason history. And I have to ask, you came all the way from the West Coast, from Seattle, to come here to Fairfax. Did you ever imagine that this would be what you could accomplish in college? This is a litany of it. Most people, when they graduate, if they had this, they would be thrilled. You've done this in 2.5 years.
Honestly, yes, I did. Just knowing Coach Blair told me she wanted me to come and make an immediate impact. So just thanking her for putting that trust in me. But I trusted all the work I put in before I came to college, so I for sure thought so.
What was the idea of, again, most people on the West Coast aren't coming all the way east to come to Fairfax. What was it? Was it the coach? Was it other players? What made you want to come, again, a 6-hour plane ride all the way to Fairfax from Seattle and play your college ball?
Honestly, it was the coaches, because when I first came here, I was like, I can't see myself coming here. But as I kept going on for the days of my my official visit, I was like, okay, I could actually see myself, because the coaches made me feel welcomed, and I just felt that family connection.
You guys are 10-0 in the A10. I already asked Coach Blair-Lewis about this, but from a player's perspective, you guys made the tournament last year. You accomplished one of the big goals that you had, off to a 10-0 start here in A10 play. Has it been tough to keep that motivation, or have you thought about, hey, we just got to get back to the tournament? What's kind of let you guys, you and Kennedy as captains every day, saying, no, this is what we need to do day by day by day to kind of stack those wins?
I don't think it's tough to stay motivated. I feel like we're taking it one game at a time, one practice at a time. It's not really hard when you just focus and you have the coaches telling you, like, we're only focused on the next game. I feel like we've been saying that for a while, so it's just what we do.
Has that been the motivation to run it back with this team this year? Because, again, talking to Coach Lewis, we said, hey, this day and age of college basketball, it's easy. You don't have to sit anymore when you transfer. It's simple to go to a different school. But you and Kennedy and Jada and Paige, a lot of people stuck around. What was your thought process in the offseason? Say, hey, you know what? I'm going to run it back with them.
Again, it was the coaches for me and my teammates. It was an easy decision, just knowing the connections I've built here. It's just very important to me, and yeah.
Pre-game, I'm going to make it a little bit easier for you here. You guys are in the locker room. Is it all earbuds? Is it headphones? Or is there one speaker and somebody's in charge of the music? How are you guys getting pumped up before you go out there in pregame?
It's kind of individual, but recently we've been playing a speaker, like, for a couple games. It's usually Paige playing something random on her speaker.
So with that, are you approving Paige's music selection, or would you rather see maybe something else, or hear something else, I should say?
I would play something else, but I mean, everyone seems to like it, so.
What's on your playlist then? When you've got the earbuds in or the headphones on, what are you listening to before a game to get yourself motivated, fired up?
I play Anita Baker, but my teammates would not appreciate that if I did.
They wouldn't be a big fan of that? All right, fair enough. All right, you and Kennedy obviously have been teammates now for the last couple of years, developed some great chemistry over the last couple of seasons. Tell me why she's such a great player to complement your game.
I think it's the hard work she puts on off and on the court. She's a great player. I feel like I learned from her as well. She sees the court in a different way, so it's good learning from her. And I feel like our game just comes natural when we're playing with each other. We just know each other's strengths, so we put each other in the best positions possible.
All right, take me to a practice now. You guys are all there, maybe halfway through. Maybe things haven't been going as well as they should have, and all of a sudden you hear Coach Blair-Lewis say this, and you're like, oh, no, here we go. What is it that she has? Is it a look? Is it some kind of expression, or is there anything that she says that you're like, oh, we're in for it now?
Baseline, or she just lets out a little scream, you just know it's coming for sure.
So baseline meaning we're getting ready to run some there.
Yeah, even if we're not about to run and I hear baseline, I think we're about to run.
There you go. All right, someone told me you're a big sneakerhead, so I have to ask, again, a lot of players are, if there are 2 or 3 sneakers that are in your, top, these are my favorite ones, or are they like children? You all love them. You love them all the same. What are your favorite ones that you have in your collection?
Basketball or?
Sure, it could be any of them. No, any of your shoes.
Okay, so right now on the court, my Hardens, I think they're the 7s. Those are my favorite. They're most comfortable. And then I just bought some Jordan 11s. Okay. Those are my favorite shoes ever because I've always wanted them as a kid, so I just got them. And then probably Asics.
Okay.
That's what I'm wearing now.
All right. Fair enough. All right. And in school, criminology, law, and society major, at some point, obviously, your coach said you're going to be a pro. No doubt about that. But everybody's career stops at some point. So when it's all said and done, what do you see yourself doing when basketball is over?
I think I'll be playing till I'm around 80 years old. So
that's a heck of a goal.
I'm just kidding. Honestly, I want to get into like the criminology field. I'm not really sure which kind of position yet, but really focused on in that position.
Very good. So again, you guys are off to a great start, 10-0 on the season. Tons of accolades, so many more things coming up for this team. When you look at it, is obviously the goal is to get back to the NCAA tournament. Doesn't matter how you get there at large or winning the tournament, but I imagine that's the talk in the locker room when you say at the end of the year, here's where we want to be.
Yeah, we just want to focus on our goals. We just know there's more to be accomplished. Like last year, yes, we went to the tournament, but we still have more goals like regular season and everything before that. So we just got to focus on it one game at a time.
There you go. Zahira Walton, redshirt junior for the women's basketball team, joining us. We appreciate the time. Come back on the other side. We'll talk to Vanessa Blair-Lewis. They've got 8 regular season games left for them at home. A lot of big challenges. We'll talk about that next. And welcome back to the George Mason Basketball Coaches Show. Thanks again to Zahira Walton for joining us in the last segment. I'm rejoined now by the women's head coach, Vanessa Blair-Lewis. And, Coach, you've had some great support from the fans out at Eagle Bank Arena all season long. is there anything else other than showing up, being loud, and being into the game that fans out there could do to support your, again, an incredible start to the season and A10 play in the last few years have been amazing. What else can fans do other than coming out and being a part of it at Eagle Bank?
Well, I think you mentioned it just before and earlier is that, keeping great players like Zahira Walton, like Kennedy Harris, like Jada Brown and Mary, it takes now, this landscape has changed.
Right.
We have a basketball greatness campaign that we would love for our fans to donate, to be a part of, to keep this talent and keep this thing rolling. Also, you said coming out the Eagle Bank Arena, we've set some record-breaking attendance, but we like to see you on the road too. Like this weekend, we're right down the street of Richmond. Like, come out and support us, especially for the tournament in Henrico.
Yeah.
Like, we'd love to see the green and gold in the stands again. They came out last year, and it meant the world of a difference.
Yeah, I was down there for the tournament that whole weekend, and I was impressed and very happy to see the amount of support of people coming down to Fairfax and being there. So, yeah, obviously, anytime they can get, road trips are not that far away in this conference, so that would be fantastic for them to come out. All right, I have to give credit to your SID, Hannah Foley, for this next question that I have. She came up with this nugget for me. Obviously, February is Black History Month. Hannah has alerted me that you are now the longest tenured Black female coach at the Division I level. That's a pretty special badge of honor. That's a pretty cool thing to have on the resume, right?
Especially when you started at age 15.
Yeah. You're like, Zah, going to play till 8 and you started coaching when you were a teenager.
I was blown away when I heard that stat. It was like over Christmas, someone said, I'm a part of all these associations. They're like, Coach, you're the longest tenured African-American coach. And I'm like, wow. I remember when I started at age 23, like I was as young as some of these players, and I was the head coach. I'm like, wow, I never thought that I would stay, this long. Like, you don't know. You start, you don't know where it's going to end up. But it's really been a blessing because I've changed from saying that this is what I do as a coach to this is my ministry. And it's made all the difference of being able to pour into these young women's lives on and off the court has been the thing that gets me up in the morning.
I know you and I have had conversations at other times that you take great pride in how much progress has been made, and for African-American women to be head coaches at the D1 level, and now that you've the longest tenure one, you've kind of helped lead that charge.
Yeah, I think it was about maybe 5 years ago, Dawn Staley, Felicia Leggett-Jack, we all were sitting down trying to make a pathway for African-Americans to be able to get opportunities like this, especially in a sport that's played by 85% African-American women, that they would have role models that look like us that could be able to coach them. And so from that, it was such an enormous spinoff. And from that, so many African-American women were able to get jobs, to be able to even just get interviewed. You had the Rooney Rule in football, but there was nothing for women's basketball. And so from that stance that we took, it was audacious at best, to go out there and say, hey, we should be allowed to at least be considered for these opportunities, and to turn on the TV now and see a lot of the young coaches that I've been able to mentor and see them on the road recruiting. I'm really proud of the stance that we took 5 years ago.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Having done this for as long as you have, obviously you have some former players that are now coaches, whether head coaches, assistants, whatever they're doing. When you look at your team today, your current players, do any of them kind of stick out that you'd be like, I might be able to see her doing this down the road?
I would probably tell them not to. If you just don't want to sleep, don't want to have a social life, on the clock 24. No, it's definitely rewarding. It's definitely taxing to be able to, manage everything, being a wife and being a mom. I tell them all the time, you can have it all, but you have to be able to balance it. I think Paige Greenberg will be a great coach. She really has an IQ for this game. I also think you just heard Zah, this really remarkable to see Zah sitting up here and talking the game, because on her official visit, when she's like, oh, I knew I would come there, we didn't know. She
didn't say too much.
She probably said
weekend,
5 words. But I would like to think that any player that comes through our program, we do a holistic job of just not showing you how to put the ball in the basket, but understanding from an IQ level of how to play this game. I think any one of our players could go out there and coach. We see them coach in camp, And it's kind of like my revenge. I'm like, wow, why won't they do this? I'm like, oh, you know what we feel now.
Right.
But I think we do a really good job of teaching the game, not just how to put the ball in the basket, but the IQ. And they get a chance, if you listen to them, if there ever a chance for them to be mic'd up during a game, like they have some really good conversations. And if you listen to the huddles, Zai and Ken, they have really stepped up and been able to lead this team.
You guys have 8 games left, 4 at home, 4 on the road. 2 really big home games coming up. The next time we'll see you at Eagle Bank, the 14th against Rhode Island, who's currently undefeated. And then 2 days later, you have Richmond, who's right behind you guys at 8-1. Great opportunity for people to come out and see some really good basketball when you guys are back at home.
Yeah, I was really happy when that game got rescheduled.
I can imagine.
I knew we were going to play it that Sunday, but nobody was going to be there. And I think those are the games that people lock in on the schedule and say, hey, I want to see some really good women's basketball. And this conference has that. Rhode Island's playing great basketball, St. Joe's, Davison, and Richmond. Like, those are the games that you want televised. You want people in the stands. So I'm glad that it got rescheduled for President's Day. Like you said, that weekend, that Saturday and Monday are going to be some really good games. So
yeah, it's going to be some good basketball out there. So we encourage everybody to come out to Eagle Bank Arena. In fact, if you want to get tickets, February 14th against Rhode Island, February 16th against Richmond, GoMason.com, or you can call the ticket office at 703-993-3270. Come on out and see them again. 10-0 in the A10. They're playing some great basketball. Coach, thank you for being here. We appreciate it. Thanks to Zai Walton as well. And everyone here at Kelly's Oyster House and Bar, we appreciate it. We'll see you next time on the George Mason Basketball Coaches Show.